8:45 p.m, Friday night, Upper East Side, Manhattan. Jessica sits on a beige Italian leather sofa, a glass of Pinot Noir in one hand, her phone in the other. The apartment is immaculate, high ceilings, marble countertops, the physical manifestation of 20 years of corporate warfare. Success. But listen closely, you don't hear laughter. You don't hear the deep timbre of a masculine voice. You don't hear the chaotic joy of children. You hear nothing, just the hum of the HVAC system and the terrifying sound of her own biological clock ticking down its final seconds. Jessica is 42, 15 years ago. This same Friday night looked very different. Her phone was a dopamine slot machine, vibrating non-stop with texts from Chad, Tyrone, the DJ, the personal trainer, men who offered excitement, men who triggered her primal instinct for danger and genetic dominance. Back then, she had another category of men in her orbit: the engineers, the accountants, the men who showed up on time, the men who texted back instantly, the men who offered stability. She called them boring, she called them friends, she called them safe. She didn't see them as partners, she saw them as utilities, background noise in the movie of her life where she was the main character. But tonight, something has shifted. She scrolls through social media. She sees that boring accountant from college. He's on a boat in the Mediterranean. He looks fit, he looks happy, and next to him is a woman. She is 24. She is radiant. She is looking at him with genuine desire, not just a need for his wallet. Suddenly, the boring guy doesn't look so boring anymore. Suddenly, Jessica feels a cold spike of adrenaline in her chest. Society tells you this is maturity. Mainstream magazines tell you Jessica is just ready to settle down. They say she has outgrown her wild phase and is now looking for a real man. Do not believe the lies. This is not maturity. This is not a moral awakening. This is a survival strategy. We are looking at a biological pivot born out of fear. Jessica isn't looking for the nice guy because she finally appreciates his virtue. She is looking for him because the bad boys have stopped calling, and the winter of her life is approaching fast. She wants a safety net. She wants a provider. She wants to negotiate a deal at the deadline of the closing market. But here is the brutal truth that no one will tell her to her face. The man she ignored for 2 decades has a memory. In this video, we are going to deconstruct the evolutionary psychology behind this phenomenon. We will dissect the dual mating strategy, the collapse of the female sexual marketplace value, and the ruthless reality of the wall. This is not a love story, this is an autopsy of regret. To understand Jessica's past behaviour, we must strip away the modern veneer of dating preferences and look at the raw hardware. We are not souls floating in the ether. We are biological machines designed for one primary directive: the propagation of genetic material. For the last 200,000 years, the female mating strategy has been driven by a ruthless, subconscious calculation. Evolutionary psychologists call this the dual mating strategy. It operates on 2 conflicting axes. 1. Good genes, sexual desirability, health, dominance. 2. Good provisioning safety, resources, parental investment. Let's rewind the clock. When Jessica was 24, she was at the peak of her reproductive potential. Her fertility was high, her estrogen was optimal. Her sexual marketplace value, SMV, was near its zenith. At this stage, her biological imperative wasn't security. It wasn't who will pay the mortgage in 20 years. Her imperative was genetic fitness. Nature does not care if a man is nice. Nature cares if he can survive. Nature cares if his immune system is strong enough to handle pathogens. Nature cares if he has the physical prowess to dominate rivals. This is why Jessica was drawn to the so-called bad boys. It wasn't a phase, it was neurochemistry. The traits she found attractive, the sharp jawline, the muscular density, the deep voice, the reckless behavior, the slight aggression, these are all markers of high testosterone. In the ancestral environment, high testosterone was a costly signal. It meant the male was so genetically robust that he could afford to compromise his immune system with high androgen levels and still thrive. This is the handicap principle. When Jessica dated the DJ who cheated on her, or the personal trainer who disappeared for days, she wasn't being stupid, she was being manipulated by her own biology. Unpredictability triggers dopamine, stability triggers nothing. The brain releases dopamine, the pleasure chemical, in anticipation of a reward. When the reward is uncertain, will he text back, will he come over? The dopamine spike is significantly higher than when the reward is guaranteed. This is called intermittent reinforcement. It is the same psychological mechanism that makes gambling addictive. The nice guys, the engineers, the dependable accountants she friend-zoned offered continuous reinforcement. They were always there. They were reliable, they were safe, and in the eyes of a 24-year-old woman with her own income and peak fertility, safe reads as genetically inferior. From an evolutionary standpoint, the nice guy represents a provider, not a genetic donor. In the wild, the male who is overly agreeable, non-confrontational, and eager to please is often the male at the bottom of the dominance hierarchy. He poses no threat to other males, he commands no territory, therefore he stimulates no arousal. Jessica's repulsion to these men wasn't personal, it was a visceral physiological reaction. She might have said, "He's just too nice," or "There's no spark." Some translation, "My subcortex does not detect the markers of a dominant male capable of producing strong offspring." At 24, Jessica could afford to prioritize good genes over good provisioning because she didn't need the provisioning. She had the safety of modern society, she had her career, she had the attention of the alpha males, she was playing the short-term mating game, maximizing for excitement and genetic quality, subconsciously believing that the party would last forever. She was maximizing her alpha fucks. She was delaying her beta bucks, but biology has a cruel expiration date. The dual mating strategy only works if you secure the good genes before your value declines, or if you secure the good provisioning before the providers realize they have other options. Jessica spent her prime years giving her most valuable asset, her youth and fertility, to men who had no intention of investing in her. She gave the best of herself to the men who just wanted to play, and she left the bill for the men who wanted to build. Now, let's look at what happens when the biology shifts, when the estrogen drops, when the thrill of the bad boy is replaced by the terror of the empty apartment. The software update is coming, but for Jessica, the hardware is already depreciating. While Jessica was busy chasing the bad boys on the weekends, she was spending her weekdays chasing another phantom, the corporate dream. Society handed Jessica a blueprint for happiness that was fundamentally flawed. It told her, focus on your career, be a boss, babe. You don't need a man. Success is the best revenge. She was told that if she became a high-powered executive, if she got the MBA, if she bought her own condo, she would become more attractive to high-value men. She treated the mating market like the job market. She thought her resume mattered. This is the resume fallacy. Jessica spent her 20s and 30s grinding, late nights at the office, skipping meals, stress, cortisol. She climbed the ladder. She became the VP of marketing. She makes $180,000 a year. She looks at herself in the mirror and thinks, I am a catch. I bring so much to the table. But here's the ruthless reality of sexual dynamics that the HR department didn't teach her. Men do not care about your degree. Men do not care about your salary. Men do not care about your title. Men are not looking for a business partner. They are looking for a feminine counterpart. A man who makes $500,000 a year does not need Jessica's $180,000. He already has resources. Adding more resources has a diminishing marginal return for him. What does he need? He needs peace. He needs youth. He needs fertility. He needs femininity. He needs a soft place to land after fighting the world all day. Jessica doesn't offer peace. She offers competition. Years of corporate warfare have trained Jessica to be masculine. To be agreeable is to be weak. To be submissive is to be crushed. So she became sharp and combative and dominant. She learned to interrupt. She learned to lead. She brings this energy onto the dates. She interrogates men like she's conducting a performance review. She challenges their decisions. She corrects their grammar. She signals masculinity. And to a masculine man, another masculine energy is not sexually attractive. It is repulsive. It creates friction, not polarity. This leads us to the mathematical impossibility of her situation. Hypergamy. Women naturally date across and up dominance hierarchies. Jessica wants a man who is taller, stronger, smarter, and wealthier than she is. When Jessica was a barista at 22, the pool of men who earned more than her was vast. Now that she is a VP earning $180K, the pool of men who earn more than her, let's say, 250 kilos, is statistically tiny, maybe top 5% of the male population. But here is the trap. Those top 5% men The high-value males have absolute abundance. They are the kings of the sexual marketplace. They can date anyone. Why would a 45-year-old CEO choose Jessica? She is 42, she is stressed, she is demanding, she requires wining and dining at Michelin-star restaurants just to feel valued. She comes with baggage, ex-lovers, and rigid expectations. Or he can choose the 25-year-old yoga instructor. She is fit, she is happy, she is cooperative, she thinks he is a hero just for buying her dinner. She has no baggage, she has high fertility. Jessica has priced herself out of the market. She increased her financial value, but she allowed her sexual value to plummet. She walks into the negotiation table demanding a high price for a depreciating asset, and when men refuse to pay that price, she calls them intimidated. Men are just intimidated by my success, she tells her friends over brunch. No, Jessica. They aren't intimidated. They are turned off. They see a woman who has prioritized economic production over biological function. They see a woman who has spent her best years serving a corporation that will replace her in 2 weeks if she dies, rather than serving a family that would have remembered her forever. She was promised that having a career would give her freedom. Instead, it gave her golden handcuffs and a lonely bed. The nice guys she rejected back then, the ones who wanted to build a life with her, when she was a receptionist, they would have supported her, they would have celebrated her. But she didn't want them then. She wanted the status. She wanted the power couple fantasy. Now she has the power, she has the status, but she has no one to share it with. And the cruelest irony, the career she sacrificed her love life for doesn't even love her back. It's just a paycheck. And a paycheck cannot hold your hand when you get the cancer diagnosis. A paycheck cannot hug you when you're old. Jessica bought the lie, and now she is paying the bill. There is a concept in economics called the point of diminishing returns. In evolutionary biology, there is a harsher term for it. The wall, for Jessica. The wall wasn't a sudden crash. It was a slow, creeping realization that the world had stopped revolving around her. It usually starts around age 30. It accelerates at 35. By 40, it is undeniable. At 35, the medical community slaps a label on a woman's fertility geriatric pregnancy. It is a clinical term, void of emotion. It signals that the biological machine is entering its obsolescence phase. The risks of birth defects skyrocket. The probability of conception plummets for a woman like Jessica, who spent her life believing she could pause biology. This is a catastrophic wake-up call. Suddenly, her sexual marketplace value, SMV, inverts. In her 20s, she held all the cards. She was the gatekeeper of sex. Men competed for her. She could demand, reject, and select with impunity. Now, in her 40s, men are the gatekeepers of commitment. The competition has flipped. Now she is competing not just with other 42-year-olds, but with the 25-year-olds who are entering the market with the one currency Jessica has spent time. This triggers the massive strategic pivot we see today, the shift from good genes to good provisioning. Jessica stops looking for the tingles, she stops looking for the thrill. The bad boys she used to chase are now either in jail, dead, broke, or if they were successful dating women half her age, they have no use for a 42-year-old corporate executive. So, Jessica turns her gaze to the invisible men, the beta males, the providers, the dependable guys, the ones who played by the rules. She dusts off her dating profile and changes her settings. She lowers her physical standards and raises her financial ones. She tells her friends, "I'm just ready to settle down at it. I want a real man who knows how to treat a woman." Let's decode this language. Ready to settle down translates to, I have exhausted my options with high-status alpha males, and now I need financial security for my retirement years. A real man translates to, a utility object that will subsidize my lifestyle and validate my ego without requiring me to change my behavior. She isn't falling in love with these men. She is hiring them. She is looking for a bailout. She has accumulated emotional debt, trauma, and baggage from 2 decades of the carousel. And now she wants a nice guy to pay the bill. She wants the beta bucks. But here is where the entitlement reaches its peak. Jessica believes she is doing these men a favor. She thinks that because she is a VP of marketing, because she dresses in designer clothes, because she travels to Paris, she is a prize. She approaches the 45-year-old accountant with an attitude of condescension. She expects him to be grateful that she is finally giving him the time of day. She expects the princess treatment she received at 23, but she is offering the value proposition of a 42-year-old. She wants him to court her, to chase her, to prove his worth. She fails to realize that the market dynamics have completely reversed. The boring guy she is now targeting, the one who spent his 20s studying and his 30s building a business. He doesn't need a 42-year-old boss babe to complete him. He has peace, he has money, he has freedom. Why would he sign a contract that brings him stress, demands, and limited fertility? Jessica offers him a deal that is essentially a negative equity asset. She brings high overhead lifestyle expectations, high maintenance emotional baggage, and low production value fertility. She's trying to sell ice to an Eskimo, but the ice has already melted. And when these men, the ones she thought were her safety net, her plan B, do not jump at the chance to marry her, when they swipe left, when they don't reply, she doesn't reflect, she doesn't adapt, she becomes bitter, she joins the chorus of women asking, "Where have all the good men gone?" The answer is simple. Jessica, the good men are still there, they are right where you left them 20 years ago, they just aren't looking at you anymore. Let's shift the camera lens. Let's look at the man Jessica rejected 20 years ago. Let's call him Tom, in his 20s. Tom was invisible. He was the engineering student studying in the library on Friday nights while Jessica was at the club. He was the guy who drove a used Honda. He was the guy who listened to Jessica cry about the DJ who cheated on her, hoping that maybe, just maybe, she would see him as more than a shoulder to cry on. She didn't. She patted his head, called him a great friend, and went back to the bad boys. Tom took the red pill. He realized that in his 20s, he had almost zero leverage in the sexual marketplace. He understood that as a man, his value is not innate, it must be built. So, Tom went to work. He buried himself in his career. He started a business. He hit the gym not for vanity, but for discipline. He learned about finance. He learned about stoicism. He endured a decade of loneliness. He endured the silence of a phone that never rang. While Jessica was riding the carousel, Tom was building the amusement park. Now, Tom's 45, and something miraculous has happened. The script has flipped. Tom is in the best shape of his life. He has a net worth that allows him true freedom. He carries himself with the quiet confidence of a man who has conquered himself. He has authority. He walks into a room, and the atmosphere changes. He's no longer invisible. He is the focal point. This is the male SMV peak. Men age like wine. Women age like milk. This is not misogyny, this is biology. A man's value is derived from his ability to protect and provide. Traits that often take decades to accumulate. Now, Jessica sees Tom, she sees the suit, she sees the car, she sees the confidence, she sees the safety and bows. She slides into his DMs. Hey stranger, long time no see, we should catch up. She expects Tom to be the same eager puppy he was at 22. She expects him to be grateful that the Queen has returned. She thinks she can just pick up where she left off, cashing in the friendship chips she ignored for 2 decades. But Tom looks at the message, and he feels nothing. Why? Because Tom has options. For the first time in his life, Tom is the selector. The 25-year-old women, the ones who are in their prime, the ones who look like Jessica used to look, are looking at Tom. They don't see an old man, they see a silver fox, they see a mentor, they see a captain. So, when Jessica proposes a date, Tom does the math. Option A, Jessica, 42 years old, low fertility, high baggage, jaded by past relationships, entitled, demands a high level of investment for a low level of appreciation. She wants him for what he has, not who he is. Option B, the younger woman, 24 years old, high fertility, high enthusiasm, low baggage, genuine desire. She looks at him with awe. She wants to join his frame, not fight it. The choice is not difficult. It is biological logic. Why would Tom pay full retail price for a depreciating asset with 200,000 miles on the odometer, when he can lease a brand new model for the same cost? This is the Invisible Man's revenge. It is not active malice. Tom doesn't hate Jessica. He doesn't want her to suffer. He just doesn't care. Her problems are not his problems anymore. Her ticking clock is not his emergency. Jessica calls him shallow for dating younger women. She calls him a man-child for not stepping up to handle a real woman. This is a shaming tactic. It is the last resort of a monopolist who has lost their monopoly. She is trying to shame him into a bad deal, but Tom is immune. He knows that he earned this spot and he sacrificed his youth to build this life. Why should he use his resources to bail out a woman who wouldn't even look at him when he was building them? Why should he be the retirement plan for a woman who gave her prime years to guys who didn't give a damn about her? To accept Jessica now is to accept being the plan B. It is to accept that you are never the first choice, you are just the safety net, because the trapeze artist missed the bar, and a high-value man has too much self-respect to be anyone's plan B. He deletes the message, he puts his phone down, he looks across the table at the 24-year-old who is smiling at him, he orders another bottle of wine. So, what is the conclusion? Do we mock Jessica? Do we celebrate her misery? No, that is emotional. That is weak. We look at this with the cold rationality of a Stoic. We observe cause and effect. The story of Jessica is not a tragedy of bad luck. It is a tragedy of bad strategy. It is the inevitable result of fighting a war against biology, using weapons forged by modern ideology. You can argue with men, you can argue with the patriarchy, you can argue with society, but you cannot argue with nature. Nature is a dictator. It does not care about your feelings. It does not care about your career empowerment. It only cares about survival and reproduction. For the men watching this, understand your timeline. If you are 20 and you feel invisible, good, use that invisibility. Use the silence. While they are out partying, you are in the lab, you're in the gym, and you are building the foundation of an empire that they cannot see yet. Do not be angry at the women who reject you now. They are just following their biological programming. They are chasing the shiny object. Let them. Your revenge is not hate. Your revenge is success. Your revenge is becoming the man who is so valuable that you get to choose. And when you reach the summit, remember who you are. Do not let a woman who ignored you in the trenches enjoy the view from the castle. Do not be plan B. For the women watching this, understand your window. The boss babe narrative is a marketing scam designed to double the tax base and keep wages low. It is not a recipe for fulfillment. If you want a family, if you want a partner, you must prioritize it while you still have leverage. You cannot negotiate from a position of weakness. Your career will always be there. Your fertility will not. The sexual marketplace is brutal, it is efficient, and it is fair in its own twisted way. You get what you pay for, and you get what you work for. Jessica made her choice. She chose the boardroom over the bedroom. She chose the quarterly report over the family dinner. Now she has to live in the house she built. It's a big house, it's an expensive house, but it is a cold house. I want to hear from you in the comments. Is it fair for men to reject women based on their past choices? Or should men step up and embrace the modern woman? Let the debate begin. This is Mind Before Skin. Think.